Do you believe you're good at telling when someone is lying? The truth is, without knowing these 10 specific signals, you're likely being deceived. And what's worse, the liars are succeeding. This video will equip you with the 10 most reliable indicators of deception, sourced directly from FBI interrogators, body language specialists, and cognitive scientists. We're going to dissect everything from unnatural eye contact and overly elaborate stories to emotional inconsistencies, linguistic tricks that create distance, and how they turn the tables on you. By the end, detecting lies will feel less like a learned skill and more like a second nature. First up, the eye contact reversal. It's a common myth that liars can't look you in the eye. That's an amateur mistake. Seasoned liars do the exact opposite. They lock their gaze on you as if they're in a high-stakes staring competition. They do this because they've learned that direct eye contact is associated with honesty, so they overcompensate to an extreme degree. It feels forced, unnatural, almost like they're attempting to hypnotize you into accepting their story. But here's the key difference. Natural eye contact flows. People look away, they blink, they think. It's part of a normal human interaction. A liar's gaze, however, is unnervingly fixed, like a machine on a mission. A study from the University of Portsmouth confirmed this, revealing that liars maintain eye contact for longer periods and blink far less often than people telling the truth. They are acting out a script for honesty instead of genuinely being honest. So if someone is staring at you with the intensity of a statue while recounting their evening, be skeptical. That isn't genuine confidence, it's a carefully rehearsed act. Number 2 is the detail dump. You pose a straightforward question like, "Where were you?" and in return, you get an entire screenplay. They'll tell you they had to park 2 blocks down because of a full lot, that the clerk had glittery purple fingernails, and the background music was some obscure indie rock from 2008. It's completely excessive. This tactic is known as detail overload, a classic move for any liar. They over-explain because their primary goal isn't to answer your question, but to make their story airtight. All that extra information is a form of overcompensation, rooted in the false belief.
Why are you asking me that? This is a textbook maneuver. Liars excel at turning the tables, putting you on the defensive. This is a deflection tactic. They evade your inquiry by forcing you to justify it. Questions like, "Don't you have faith in me?" or "What would give you the idea I would lie?" are common. This isn't a sign of being offended, it's a calculated strategy. Researchers at UCLA discovered that individuals who resort to these defensive counter-questions are far more likely to be concealing something. While you're busy defending your right to ask, they're gaining precious seconds to construct their fabrication. It's a devious but effective manipulation. The next time a simple question elicits an overly defensive reaction, take note. The truth rarely requires such aggressive guarding. Fourth is the body language giveaway. Ever notice how someone, when asked a tough question, will suddenly start touching their face, covering their mouth, or scratching their neck? It's as if they've developed a sudden allergy to the truth. This is their body having a stress reaction, revealing what their words are trying to hide. MIT researchers have shown that when a person lies, stress hormones surge, triggering what are known as self-soothing behaviors. In simple terms, they start fidgeting nervously. This includes touching the face, shielding the mouth, or abruptly crossing their arms. It's the body's attempt to calm itself down while the mind is busy managing the deceit. A particularly telling sign is a physical contradiction. They might say yes while subtly shaking their head no, or vice versa. This isn't a simple slip-up, it's a cognitive dissonance made visible. The mouth says one thing, but the body leaks the truth. When words and body language are in conflict, always trust the body. It's a remarkably poor liar. The fifth sign is the pause. You ask a direct, yes or no question, like, "Were you at her house last night?" And there's a beat of silence that's just a fraction too long. It might be followed by a filler phrase like, "Huh, that's an interesting question." That delay isn't for recalling a memory, it's for fabricating a story. Psychologists at Harvard have even quantified it. Liars need, on average, about 2.3 seconds more to answer than people telling the truth. The reason is simple. There's a faint smile on their face. Or they claim to be thrilled about something while looking completely bored. This strange inconsistency isn't just poor acting. It's the lie showing its seams. Neuroscientists at UC Berkeley have found that when people are dishonest, the emotional centers of their brain can't keep up with the narrative they're creating. Genuine emotions are simultaneous with the words that express them. Fabricated emotions, however, often have a noticeable delay. This results in that awkward, half-second lag between what they're saying and the emotion they display. It can be subtle, but your intuition will often pick up on it. It's that strange feeling when something just seems wrong. This happens because they are attempting to perform the emotion after the words have already been spoken. When someone's emotional expression and their story are out of sync, always trust the expression. The seventh indicator is the memory glitch. If you want to put a liar to the test, ask them to recount their story a second time. Pay close attention. You'll often find that the sequence of events changes. Key details that were present before suddenly vanish. Facts they were certain about just 5 minutes earlier are now prefaced with "I think" or "I'm not 100% sure." This happens because true memories are retrieved consistently. They're like complete files stored in your mind. Lies, on the other hand, are like a performance of improv. The story is constructed from scratch with each telling, and inconsistencies inevitably appear. Research from Johns Hopkins University supports this, showing that genuine memories remain stable when retold, whereas fabricated stories vary significantly. It's a scientific fact. So if someone's account seems to change with each telling, as if it's still under development, listen to your instincts. They aren't remembering, they are revising. And eventually, they will lose track of which version they told you. Number 8 is the verbal distancing tactic. Liars do more than just alter facts. They create a linguistic buffer between themselves and their falsehoods. This technique, known as verbal distancing, is often more subtle than physical tells. If you listen carefully, you can hear it in their choice of words. For instance, instead of using I, a liar might substitute you or people. So, I didn't attend the party might become, you know how it is, sometimes it's a sign that the story may not be their own. Ninth, setting the truth trap. Here is a way to test a story without the person realizing they're being scrutinized. Ask them to tell it in a non-chronological order. Simply interrupt and say, "Hold on, what occurred just before that happened?" Or, "Let's rewind, what was the very beginning again?" Then observe carefully. A true story is easy to recount from any point because it's a real memory. Your brain can simply jump to that part of the file. A lie, however, is typically a rehearsed, linear script. When you disrupt that sequence, liars often falter. They may forget previously stated details, hesitate, or even contradict themselves. This is a common interrogation technique used by detectives to dismantle a fabricated account. It removes their mental roadmap, leaving them disoriented. If they become irritated, flustered, or claim to forget, you've likely exposed the lie. A true story is solid from every perspective, but a lie will crumble under pressure. And number 10, upgrading your lie detector. The reality is, your subconscious already senses when something isn't right. That nagging gut feeling, that tightness in your chest when a person's story just doesn't feel true despite their smile, that's your intuition at work, not just random anxiety. Most of us have simply learned to dismiss it, but now you have the tools. You understand the signals, the intense, overdone stare, the excessively detailed narrative, the quickness to get defensive, the contradictory body language, the revealing pauses, the mismatched emotions, the memory inconsistencies, the verbal distancing, and the collapse when the story is challenged. You now have the complete toolkit. Once you begin to recognize these patterns, you'll see them everywhere. Your interactions will become sharper, more insightful. People will reveal their true intentions. You'll just finally have the ability to interpret them. If this has been enlightening for you, be sure to subscribe.
I have more content on the way designed to sharpen your perception. And please, share your own experiences in the comments. When was the last time you caught a lie, and what was the telltale sign? Let's compile a collective knowledge of these red flags.